So I begin the Halloween season with a little bit of a scary proposition and mourning a loss of a friend, if you will. So I moved to Phoenix, Arizona about a month and a half ago from Seattle, Washington, and when I first moved here, I wanted to make as many friends as possible because I knew that out of the 8 billion people in the world, the more people I can mingle with, the higher the probability that I'll meet somebody important in my future, right? So, for example, I talked extensively about next week being Mary Curry's birthday. She obviously met an important person in her life, and I think she kind of got lucky in that regard, not only meeting him, but also having an 11-year marriage, and obviously, tragically, he was in an accident. But I think she's lucky in a second regard, because I think, and history will have to look into this, I think she was solosexual by heart. And so she got to enjoy the rest of her life in her own romantic relationship, and she avoided the judgment because everybody realized she was a widow. She was lucky. Had she just stayed solosexual from the onset, it might not have turned out so well for her in terms of her career. So, anyways, getting back to my own personal story, I want to meet the right people in my life. And so when I first started my job, I wanted to treat my boss and my colleagues almost like friends. We're working together on a common cause, and to try to avoid any sort of conflict. And so I didn't haggle too hard about the start dates, I didn't haggle anything about any working conditions, and I kind of just silently took care of a lot of things. I remember the first day when I went to the office just praying really hard that there would not be any serious workplace conditions that I had to tend to, right? Sometimes at some workplaces they put a strong air freshener in there, and the first day I went there, there was a plug-in air freshener in the bathroom. I swapped it out and just prayed that nobody would notice. Sure enough, nobody notices it, and that's good. So I took care of that without any noise at all. And I filled in for a colleague. But unfortunately, it did not turn out very well for me. I wanted to install some UV lighting. I wanted a very specific day off for an event. And so finally this week I caved and I kind of pivoted my strategy. And the impetus was that we would have a Thanksgiving week that would be slow. And I had to decide if I wanted to stay behind and take 10 hours of work, or if it was more worthwhile for me to take a vacation at the time. And so I caved, and I told my boss, I love all my students. If it means if I stay here, I want to get at least 20 hours of work. Otherwise, there are other things that I would kind of like to tend to, because as you can imagine, it's been almost 3 years since a lot of things I wanted to do. But because I love the students so much, if I can get 20 hours of work, I'll stay. He looked at his calendar, and there probably weren't 20 hours of work, and he said, you know what, I think the students like working with you. I'll pay you 20 hours if it's not up to 20. And so that's good. But at the same time that I felt good about asking for that, I kind of mourned the loss of my friend. And I really wish one day we could have a workplace where people could be buddies and work together for the common good. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen where I work at the moment. So I mourn the loss of a friend, if you will. Now, earlier today I made some more requests. I have seasonal issues, and I want to install a UV light. And to top it off, the way my desk is arranged, it doesn't really allow for something to be plugged in very easily. And so I told my boss, can I come in 15 minutes early? I want to set up some things. And I actually started by explaining that sometimes I like to show the kids something on my computer. I teach AP Computer Science, and sometimes there's chemistry. I teach chemistry, and there's chemistry material I want to look up. So sometimes I'm looking for outlets. And by the way, in a couple weeks, so I'll be hoping to install a light, because the days are getting shorter, and lighting would definitely help me. And so I got there 15 minutes and rearranged some furniture. And again, even though I got what I wanted, I kind of mourned the loss of a friend. And tough way to start the holidays, to lose a friend in some way, right?